Hey everybody, I am Chris Baker from Lucky Gunner, and today I'm revisiting the topic of 22 long rifle pocket pistols. We originally posted this back in 2018 and it became our most popular video on YouTube with 4.3 million views. Unfortunately, YouTube removed it last year along with 13 other videos from our channel. So this is a repost, but I've also added some updates at the end because there have been quite a few changes in the realm of 22 pocket pistols since 2018. As far as YouTube goes, we have tried to sanitize our other existing videos as much as possible so they don't remove any more of them. They really don't like it when we show or even say our web address, so we're trying to avoid that from now on. But YouTube likes to keep us guessing, so who knows what'll happen. We will try to repost our other videos soon, hopefully with little updates like this one. You can also watch all of our videos right now on our blog, the Lucky Gunner Lounge. We have them hosted with a private service that we pay for, so they're not going anywhere. Regardless of what YouTube does, we will keep making videos of some kind, and they will be posted on the lounge. You can even sign up to get an email whenever there's a new one. Okay, here is the original video, why a 22 pocket gun should not be underestimated, now in glorious 4K. It's been said that 22 long rifle has killed more people than all other calibers combined. I don't know where this idea comes from, but it's stupid and people should stop saying it. Whether or not it's true, it has nothing to do with the goal of personal protection. What we care about is having the ability to immediately change the behavior of the person who is trying to kill us. Or as Claude Warner put it back in part 1 of this series, we want to force a break in contact with the enemy. So today the question we're asking is whether or not a pocket-sized handgun chambered for 22 long rifle is a wise choice for that task. From a standpoint of terminal ballistics, 22 long rifle is not all that impressive, especially when fired from a short handgun barrel. But it's also much more capable than a lot of people give it credit for. We will be doing some extensive velocity and ballistic gel testing with different 22 loads sometime in the not too distant future. For now, just to illustrate the point, I ran one quick gel test with the CCI Velocitor 40 grain small game load that's been known to perform relatively well out of handguns. Using a 1.9 inch snub nose revolver, all 5 rounds penetrated between 10 and 12 inches. There was no expansion, but we don't really expect a 22 to expand. Penetration is by far the more important attribute. The FBI uses a minimum standard of 12 inches of penetration for duty ammo, but 10 inches is nothing to sneeze at. With good shot placement, a bullet from a 22 handgun should be more than capable of reaching the vital organs to physically disable an attacker. But whenever possible, we always want to corroborate gel test results with what has been observed in real-world use. So let's take a look at some more numbers from Greg Ellifritz's stopping power study based on statistics from 1,800 shootings. He found that about 60% of the time someone was shot with a 22, they were incapacitated after a single hit to the head or torso. That's on par with the numbers from some much bigger and more powerful calibers. But about 1/3 of the time someone hit with a 22 was not immediately incapacitated no matter how many times they were shot. That's roughly twice as many failures as calibers of 380 and up. Last week, I talked about 25 ACP and how despite a less than stellar street record, there's a case to be made for carrying one. 25s are smaller than any other pistols out there, and there might be some niche uses for something like that. But that's not the case for 22 pocket guns. There are really only 2 22 long rifle semi-autos in current production that I'm aware of that could properly be considered pocket pistols. The Beretta 21A Bobcat and the Taurus PT22. They are very similar pistols in appearance, and they're about the same size and weight. Neither of them are easier to carry than the typical polymer 380 pocket pistol like this Ruger LCP2. Actually, the 22s are much wider in the grip than any modern 380 ACP. The situation is similar with lightweight 22 revolvers like the 2 Smith & Wesson J-frames I've been working with lately. The Model 43C weighs 12.3 ounces loaded with 8 rounds of 22, but that's only 1 ounce less than the Model 342 PD, which is identical in size but chambered for 38 special. Of course, the real reason we all like 22s anyway is because of the low cost of ammo and the low recoil. Even out of these really tiny guns, the recoil is so mild that even the most timid shooters are usually not bothered by it. That's why 22 pocket pistols are sometimes recommended for inexperienced shooters who don't practice very often, or for people with physical limitations like arthritis, tendonitis, or diminished grip strength. A 22 might be a good solution for some of these people, but I wouldn't be too quick to make that recommendation. Most of these 22 pocket guns are double action designs, which means the trigger pull is relatively heavy. They actually tend to be even heavier triggers than the double action centerfire pistols because the rimfire primers require a little bit more force to ensure reliable ignition. It's a real challenge to get accurate hits on demand with a trigger like that without some good coaching and a fair amount of practice. And people with physical limitations are probably going to have trouble pulling the trigger at all. There's no way to get around the fact that tiny guns are difficult to shoot well, even when they don't have a whole lot of recoil. Having said all that, I think it's a mistake to dismiss the 22 pocket pistol as a gun that's just barely better than nothing. It has some benefits even for proficient shooters who don't have any medical limitations. Think about it this way. Most of us who are serious about practicing our handgun skills on a regular basis tend to do the vast majority of our shooting with a full-size or a compact pistol chambered for a service caliber. That's where we dedicate the bulk of our training hours and our ammo budget. If we own a little pocket pistol that we carry occasionally, we probably don't get a whole lot of trigger time with it. They're not much fun to shoot, and to be honest, when you've been blasting away with a full-size gun for an hour, it's kind of a hit to the ego to pull an LCP or a J-frame out of the range bag and find out that your speed and accuracy are almost cut in half. Some of us still train diligently with these lightweight 38s and 380s anyway, but it always feels kind of like taking medicine. Now, what if that pocket gun was a 22 instead? Because the ammo is so cheap, you could run 50 rounds through it at the end of every range session and only be out $2. Over time, you would probably get really good at shooting that little gun, and you might actually enjoy doing it. A lot of people adopt a training strategy like this, but they use the 22 as a dedicated training analog for an identical gun that's chambered in a larger caliber. I think that strategy can work really well, but just speaking for myself, no matter how many rounds I put through J-frame snubbies, I will never shoot a lightweight 38 as well as I shoot the 22. So how much better does our performance with the 22 have to be before that outweighs the ballistic advantage of carrying a centerfire pistol? To be completely honest, I don't really know how to answer that, but I think it's worth thinking about. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to start with some objective way to measure your performance, like one of the drills or tests from our Start Shooting Better series. If you're limited to carrying a pocket pistol for whatever reason, and you can score significantly better on a shooting drill with a 22 than you can with a centerfire, I certainly wouldn't try to talk you out of carrying the 22. But we might actually be getting a little ahead of ourselves. Before we even get to the point of measuring skill, our first priority in a carry gun should be reliability. The gun has to work, and everybody knows that 22 long rifle is inherently unreliable compared to modern centerfire ammo. Or maybe that's another aspect of this cartridge that has been greatly exaggerated. We're actually doing some testing on that very topic right now, so next time, we're going to continue this discussion and take a closer look at whether 22 long rifle is reliable enough for personal protection. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that, and if you want to support our pocket pistol series and other videos, get your ammo from us with lightning fast shipping at... Okay, that's good right there. Let's cut it so we don't get in trouble again. A lot has changed since 2018, and I don't just mean the dramatic mood lighting in our studio. First of all, my approach to these topics is a little different now. This video is part of a series, so a lot of related topics like reliability, ballistic gel testing, reviews of specific guns, those each got their own video. Lately, I tend to do longer, more in-depth videos where I just kind of cover all that stuff all at once. So if it seems like this video left a lot of unanswered questions, just check out the rest of the Pocket Pistol series and you can probably find your answer there. The overall perception of 22 pocket guns has also changed over the last few years. Carrying a 22 used to be unthinkable in the defense world, but it seems like more people are at least willing to entertain the idea these days. Concealed carry continues to grow in popularity, and a small gun with minimal recoil and affordable ammo it fits into a lot of people's lives much better than the more traditional defense calibers. The gun industry has also noticed this. In 2018, rimfire pocket pistol offerings were pretty stagnant. Now we've got a few new options. Ruger now has a 22 version of the LCP2. I reviewed that back in April of 2020. Taurus replaced the PT22 with the new 22 TUC. It's a much improved design and supposedly a lot more reliable. Beretta just released an update to the Bobcat. The new 20X is a complete redesign and addresses most of the shortcomings of the classic 21A that I've mentioned in the past. A few of the major ammo companies have developed the first ever 22 long rifle loads specifically marketed for self-defense. It's nice to see the effort, but 22 is still 22. I haven't seen any game changers in terms of ballistic performance. Federal Punch is probably a good choice if it feeds in your gun, but I have seen a lot of semi-autos have trouble with that bullet profile. Looking back at this video a little more than 6 years later, I would probably argue some of these points a little differently today, but I stand by the main idea. If you've been following us for a while, you have heard me say it a dozen times in different ways. Shootability should be one of the first things we look for in a defensive handgun, and it's often one of the last. Small guns are hard to shoot well, except for 22s, and that's why, despite all the valid arguments about reliability and ballistics, they are still worth considering in some cases. Of course, a 32 pocket pistol will give you low recoil, better ballistics, and centerfire reliability, and it looks like the industry is finally coming around on that one as well, but that is a topic for another day. I hope you guys enjoyed this revisit. Until next time, if you need some ammo, be sure to get it from us with lightning fast shipping from our website that I am not allowed to mention, .com.